Hello again, and welcome to another edition of Nick's Impromptu Reviews. I am Nick, and this is my cat Oscar, who decided not to leave the table today. In fact, you probably saw him in one of my videos where he video bombed one of my reviews. But since Oscar's here, I don't want to fight him, so okay, you get to stay, alright? Is that okay? Alright, anyway, today I am going to review Cutthroat Caverns by Smirk and Dagger Games. Now, Cutthroat Caverns, it's a card-driven dungeon delve, okay? Half cooperative, half competitive, okay? In fact, the title pretty much says all Cutthroat Caverns because it is a cutthroat game. Okay, so basically, here's the tagline, or what the cover says. Without teamwork, you'll never survive. Without betrayal, you'll never win, and that is really the case of this. Basically, you're going into a dungeon and you're fighting off monsters. Now, the thing is, only one person will be able to get the victory points to win, and that's the person who does the killing blow. Okay, so basically, yeah, you'll have to. And these monsters are huge. You cannot beat it alone. So really, you really have to use teamwork, but then toward the end, you got to backstab someone. Okay, it's a 3 to 6 player game. It's for about an hour and a half to play. Probably 2 hours sometimes if you're playing with a lot of players. And it has a few expansions. I have actually 2 expansions to this game, but I'm just going to review the base game and the system as a whole. Okay, and yeah, that's basically it. You go in a dungeon, you fight monsters, and then betray each other. Okay, well, let's see how this game goes. Okay, so here's a setup for a 3-player game of Cutthroat Caverns, and the amount of players it can handle is 3 to 6, okay? But right now this is a 3-player game. It has to have at least 3 players. It doesn't work with 2 players. Alright, so let me tell you the different parts. Okay, each player, they get their character card, and they start out with 100 health. So thus that glass bead is the indicator. Now, in the base game, the characters really don't matter. They're all the same. They don't have any different special abilities or anything. However, the first expansion, which I have, it does give special abilities. But for now, I'll just show you the vanilla game right now. Okay, so you have your 3 characters with their starting life counter card, and then each player is dealt 7 of these attack cards and action cards, okay? The red cards mean they're attack types. There's also potions. Let's see if I draw potions. There's also blue, which are counters. Okay, they're kind of like instants in what do you call it, Magic the Gathering. Let's see if I have a potion card around here. Ah, there you go. And then we have potion cards. So those are the 3 types. Green potions, blue counters, but the main one is the red attack cards, okay? Because those are the ones that you need to fight the monster. Okay, so you start out with 7 cards at the beginning, and you're randomly dealt 9 encounter cards. These are the monsters, okay? And the game ends when you go through this entire deck, all 9 monsters, and whoever has the most victory points wins, okay? In other words, kills. And there's a possibility that you'll all die and nobody wins. So, yeah, keep that in mind, okay? And here we have, this is the monster track, okay? We keep track of every monster, their health points, and then the encounters, okay? And there's only going to be 9 of them, okay? There's 9 monsters. Sometimes there's some cards that add more than that, but then you're going to have 9 encounters, and the bead goes down after each encounter just to keep track of the number of monsters, okay? So, first thing you do, actually you get initiative too. I forgot about the initiative cards. And then you have initiative cards numbered 1 through 6. You take just the ones that you need for the amount of players you have, okay? In this case, it was just 3 players, so I take initiative cards 1 through 3. So the first thing we do is we have someone shuffle these randomly, okay? Just shuffle them, and then you pass them out, okay? Alright, so that's the 3rd player. So first player, that's the 2nd player, okay? Now the person who's player 1, they get to go first, alright? And then 2nd, and then 3rd, alright? So, then you go ahead, kick the door in, I guess, and then you fight your first monster. And what we have here, we have a cursed goblin. Okay, some dark wizard thought having a constant kicking boy would be funny. It wasn't. The cursed goblin is healed instead of damaged every other time points of damage are done to it. Plan carefully. Ooh, or meet the wizard's fate. Okay, so instead of damage every other. Okay, so every other time it is healed rather than damaged. So, wow, that's going to be interesting. All right, so now you also look at the bottom right here, and it has the hit points it starts out with. So in a 3-player game, it has 70 hit points. In a 4-player game, it's 110, and so on. Okay, so basically, it's easier when with lesser players, but when with more players, it's harder. Okay, which makes sense. Okay, so what we do, we take the bead marker and we put it at 70, since it starts with 70 health. And also on the bottom of this, it tells you who it attacks. Okay, so if we don't kill it after everyone takes a turn damaging it, it will do that. Okay, so in this case, it'll attack player 1 for 10 points. All right, and well, if it was a 5-player game, it takes player 1 and 2, but we're only playing a 3-player game, so it attacks player 1 for 10 points. Okay, so player 1 wants this thing eliminated as quick as possible. The other ones really don't care, right? Well, they want to beat it to get the points. All right, so here's what happens. Player 1 goes. Okay, so they'll look at their cards. Okay, and these, the main cards are these. Okay. These ones do damage. Oh, and there's also a special one. Okay, and you notice like there's like different numbers on the sides, and that's to modify it. Okay. Now this one does attack to 25, and it has a picture of one of the characters. If your character has that picture, for instance, that guy, if this one had this card, this thing would do 50 damage. Okay. So I guess that's one of the differences that these characters do. But you know, it's more luck of the draw than actual special ability. Okay, so they go ahead and do all these. Player 1 picks their cards, and then they put it face down. So let's say player 1. All right, player 1 wants to get rid of this thing as fast as possible. So let's put the 40 down. Now face down in front of everyone, and everyone else does the same. Okay, so let's say, I don't know. We'll play 30 right here. Okay. Okay, now we're not supposed to know what they are. Okay, and I don't know. Let's do 50 right here. Okay, and they'll play that card. All right. So in sequence, player 1 will attack first, and they hit it for 40. Okay, so you place it right here. All right, and it does 40 damage, and it's not killed yet. Now, other people, what they can do, they can play blue cards to mess them up. Okay, so let's say this person right here does a trip. And what does trip do? Play on another player after they play an attack card. Their attacks all miss this round, and they lose their next turn. So let's say this person wants to be mean. Bam. Okay? Now, you would say, why would they want to mess with another player? Because we're sort of all cooperating, right, to beat the guy? Not necessarily, okay? Because only the person who does the killing blow on this monster gets the victory points, and in this case the victory points is only 1. Okay, but still it's a victory point. Okay, so you want to be the last one to kill it. Okay, I mean, you can have like every other player do like, say like 60 damage to it, and then you do 10 damage, you'll get the points because you did the killing blow, right? So let's say they do that. Well, actually, you know what, let's hold on to this for a second. Okay, just so no, why not? We'll do that. We'll do trip, okay? All right, so they play trip, so it cancels that, so it does no damage. Now, player 2 comes on, hits it for 50, okay? Ugh, maybe that was not a good idea. All right, let's go back. Okay, so now they do it for 50. So that does nothing. That does 50, and this one does 30. So that was not a good move by player 2, because that's 80. That's more than 70. That was the killing blow. So player 3 would get the victory point, so they keep this as a trophy. Okay? And so player 2 kind of stabbed itself. Okay? So let's go back here. Let's say they did not do this. Okay? So player 2 went ahead and just killed it with 50. Then bam, it's 90. They killed it. Player 2 did the killing blow, so they will get the victory point. Okay? And really, that's basically the game right there. Okay? The person who gets the killing blow is the only person who gets the points, okay? And this is where the fun begins, right? Because some of these monsters are really, really big, and you need everybody to do damage to it because it's really hard to beat it by itself. But then, you know, you want to be the one that does the killing blow, not everyone else, all right? So that's where the fun begins. Okay, now suppose that monster did not get killed this round. Okay, now if that's the case, if everyone went ahead their turn and they did not kill it with 70 points, then what's going to happen is that, let's say they hit it for only, oh, I don't know, they hit it for only 40 and whatever, the other two got negated somehow. Let's say 40, let's add this up. 40 faint, which does nothing, and I don't know, 10. Okay. So that's like 50 points done right there, okay? So suppose they did not do enough to kill it, okay? So first of all, you see how much damage it take? So it was 50, so the track goes down to 20. And then you look at the attack right here. Attacks player 1 for 10 points, okay? So it goes ahead and attacks player 1 for 10 points, so they take 10 damage, okay? And now that is the end of the round, okay? So after the end of the round, after you've taking damage to the monster, taking damage to the appropriate players. Every player, they get to pretty much discard any cards that they have, and they draw up to their hand of 7. Okay, so that's where you can exchange your what do you call it? Your hand. Okay, all right, and this keeps going and going until the monster is dead, and whoever got the killing blow gets the trophy, and they get the appropriate amount of victory points. And then you get the next one, do that, the next one, and you do that until you get all 9 monsters, and that ends the game, and whoever has the most victory points wins the game. Okay, so let's look at the cards that you can play as a player, okay? And there are 3 types. You have your basic attack cards, you have your potions, and I guess amulets and stuff, and then you have your blue counter cards, okay? So let's go with the main ones. These are the most abundant. These are your attack cards, and basically they have your number, like this one's attack 50, that one's attack 30, and you have your special ones where it's normally for any other player it's an attack 30, but for that character it does 60, so that's more damage. And then you have, wow, I think 100, that's the most you can get, that's the highest card you can get. Okay, then you have these cute ones here, okay? You have Poke with a Stick. It does 0 damage. Now, Poke with a Stick counts as an attack that hits and inflicts damage even if the damage is 0. I guess you can do that. There is an advantage where you can combo that. Then you have Stab and Grab. You may steal a corked potion or any one item for another player, but you do 5 damage. Feint. It's a maneuver set as a standard attack. This attack neither hits nor inflicts damage, nor can it be made to. And there are reasons for that, just to poke it. And then Double Strike. What you do, you set this down, okay, and then you immediately play 2 cards. Normally you play only 1 card, but you can immediately play 2, so that's pretty good. That does some serious damage. Then you have your potions, okay. Here you have Cure Wounds, and when you get these potions, you just put them right in front, immediately put them right in front of you, and you keep it until you use it. And when you use it, you just turn it over, and it's used, okay. And this heals 15 points, or you can heal another person 15 points, and you get 2 victory points. So that's encourages you to help out. And these amulets and stuff, they give you special abilities, sometimes temporary when you drink it. Now here's the fun stuff. These are the counter cards. These are the mean cards. Okay, Edge Out. Basically, it cancels a set attack card of another player, okay? Remember, you have to put the killing blow. You don't want anyone else to get the killing blow, okay? So that's what that does. Trip, you've seen that one played. they don't attack and lose a turn. Human Shield, pick a player on your left or right and redirect the damage on all others effects of that player. So once a monster hits you, play this and it hits your neighbor. Same thing, okay? If you get damage, you can redirect it to anybody, not just your left or right. So that's actually more powerful than that. Not so fast. This basically cancels a card. It counters a counter. Okay, so if someone played a counter on you, you can play this and you counter that counter. And then Counter Strike, whenever you do damage, you can play 2 attack cards immediately and damage that monster. Okay, so those are the 3 basic cards that you can play with. Okay, now let's look at some of these monsters. Okay, you already saw the Cursed Goblin, which every other attack it heals instead of does damage, and that can be annoying. Okay, and then you have the Lurker. The Lurker strikes a player who hit and damage it for the least amount of damage in the round. If there's more than one player that tie for least damage, determine a target at random. Okay, so that's who it hits. It hits the one who hits the weakest. And the Iron Skin Gargoyle cannot be damaged by attacks which cause 20 points of damage or less. So you gotta hit it hard. Okay. And this is the executioner. Before executioner attacks, each player flips a coin. The executioner damages all players who flipped heads. Yeah, so all these monsters, they do a little different things. And there are a lot of them. I do have the expansions. I forgot what the basic one comes with, but they are all pretty unique, okay? And they all do special damage. Some can be very annoying too. Okay, Minotaur. Each round determine who is lost in the labyrinth by playing rock, paper. Yeah, we played that before. That was hilarious. And yeah, the Blood Mage at the end of the round. Blood Mage, the summer still lives. Take a random encounter card from outside of the game and place it on top of the encounter deck. So basically, it makes the game longer. Adds more monsters. Okay, so that's it. And there is a lot of variety to the cards and the monsters, but basically what you're doing, you're fighting the monster, trying to kill it cooperatively. But then at the end, that's when the backstabbing causes. You want to get that last hit. You don't want anyone else to get that last hit. That's when you start tripping and countering and everything like that to get that last hit, because the person who does the killing blow is the only person who gets the points. Okay, and that's pretty much the game.
So as you can see, the mechanics are very easy. The rules are they're pretty let's say, I mean, simple. There's not that many rules. Basically, the person who gets the killing blow gets the points. Okay. Now, even though the rules are simple and the objective is pretty self-explanatory, the cards is what makes the game complex and deep. The strategy isn't simple. Okay, there's so many things to think about. Okay, you got to look at the initiative, the order of the play. Okay, because you're gonna be thinking, okay, is player number 2, is this guy gonna kill him? How much is he or she going to do damage, and how much should I do? Or people they like to save their counters and then go ahead and just counter, and then make sure they have a counter in case they counter their counter and stuff like that. And that's where the game really takes off. Whether in a good way and a bad way, because it can get frustrating. Okay, you'll see people just countering, especially toward the end, and if you concentrate too much on other players, then none of you will win. The monster will beat all of you. Okay, so yeah, it's really, you gotta find that fine line. Okay, how much should I help? But toward the end, when the monster's down by little, it's like, yeah, you gotta hit it. Okay. Then again, maybe the monster will only attack, person X and no one else. So you really don't care if it attacks, right, or how quick you beat it. So yeah, that's another thing you got to think about. So yeah, the mechanics, it's very easy, but like I said, the strategy, there's a lot of thinking going on. You got to really look at the turn order. You got to figure out the cards. You got to sort of anticipate what they're gonna do, and at the same time, you got to think of that monster. Okay, yeah. So it's a pretty neat game, and it's one thing when you have a game where you're all attacking each other, but it's another thing when you're playing a game where you have to cooperate, and you must cooperate because it's almost impossible to beat it by yourself, and then betray the person. Okay, that is, yeah, that can really lead to some really frustrating situations. Okay, but altogether, it's a really neat package, a real unique game mechanic, and it's a lot of fun.
How you doing, Oscar? You hanging in there? You tired? Okay, so that's what Cutthroat Caverns is. To be honest, it's a very ingenious mechanic. I really like the way it's set up. How you really have to be as a team when you fight these monsters at first, but then at the end it encourages you to backstab someone. Okay, I don't think this game gets a lot of credit, although it did, according to the package, it did win Best Card Game of 2007 at Origins, okay? But for whatever reason, I just don't see it played enough. But it's a really good game. I really like it. The idea of, like, a full cooperative dungeon game, you all go in there as a team and you fight and you win as a team, okay? This really adds a little twist to it, okay? You need to work with other players to beat these monsters. Because these monsters are huge, okay? They have a lot of hit points, so you need everyone to help you, okay? But at the very end, you need to, you know, only one person can get points. You need to backstab somebody, okay? And this game can get very frustrating. You got to make sure you're with the right people. I mean, really good-natured, mature, good sportsman people, because this is the meanest game I've ever played. And really, I mean, it's one thing if you're playing competitive games where you attack each other. I mean, that's really no big deal. You're attacking each other from the start. But this one, it's really, not only do you have to be mean, you have to be sneaky, and you have to be betrayal. Bye, Oscar. I guess you can handle it. But the way you have to be competitive, got to be competitive, and then at the last minute, bam, just betray them, like throw a counter or something. Oh man, it can get frustrating as heck. Okay, but you know what? I do like it, and I wish more games had this mechanic. I guess Cosmic Encounter would be one. I'll review Cosmic Encounter. That's a different animal altogether. But I really do like this one. Okay, drawbacks. All right, like I said, I think yeah, you got to really play with people who are not too serious about games. All right, I know some of you have some jerks out there who are just overly competitive, because there's some stuff in here that can make you flip the table. All right, because that's like, okay, hit, okay, I'm ready to do the killer blow. I got it. No, edge you out. You know, wipe them out on their move. Oh man, it can be frustrating, and then counters and everything like that. All right, so you got to play with some good-natured people, good, you know, even-tempered people. Another thing is that the cards. The cards that you play, the action cards, I wish they had illustrations on them. They're just words and numbers, and I guess if you added some pictures to it, it would have added more flavor to the game. Okay, in my opinion. All right, but otherwise the gameplay is good. The art on the monsters is good. The monsters, their abilities are pretty creative, and yeah, this game is good altogether. Okay, and I just wish more people have, you know, more games would use this mechanic, because it's a real nice game. Okay, so all right, so that's it. So with that, I will give Cutthroat Caverns an 8 out of 10. It's good, but like I said, it's a very mean game, but it's a good game. All right, that is it. Until next time, I will see you all later. Goodbye.